I made an entire animated film using only Procreate. Yes, you heard that right. I did the backgrounds, the animation, the coloring, storyboard, everything that has to do with the production of an animation film, all in Procreate. And I'm not even talking about the Procreate Dream because I made this movie before Procreate Dreams even existed. So if you're asking yourself, how and why did I make an entire film on Procreate and why did I thought it's going to be a good idea? There is two sections that I kind of want to touch upon. So I think they will help you understand better my, I would say, thought process. So the first one is to take you through my personal experience when I was making this film and why I chose to use Procreate for the amount of things that I did. So you will understand better if it's suiting your preferences and your, I would say, limitations maybe. And then the other part is maybe to serve as a cautionary tale for young artists or animators who have never made an animation project ever and they want to make one, but they're not sure if they can pull it off. Give you as much insight to projects like this as I can, so you'll have a better understanding and you will get the most out of this project without getting the life and joy sucked out of you as much as possible. You're an animator, yeah, so don't expect too much. Hi everyone, Avia from the future here. I actually have a tool for you that can help you simplify your artistic journey. I'm so happy to introduce you to today's sponsor, Ajuice. Ajuice is a company that's specializing in developing tools and plugins for video editing and animation softwares. They want to help you to complete your projects faster and with high quality without having to spend hours manually doing all the effects. I tried their old film pack for the first time and I really like the look of it. It's so professional. And I have this idea about this short film that I want to do. And so having their pre-made packs with those like kind of effects that I really wanted to use, but I didn't know how to create on my own is so helpful. And now I don't have any more excuses. I'll actually go and make that project. I highly recommend that you try them for yourself. So you can download their starter pack, which is completely free, and you have, I think, more than 100 assets there that you can use and try on your own to see if you like it and if it works for you. And if you want to try their all-in bundle, which is one bundle, they have all their packs in, it's one payment for life. You can use my code AVI10 to get your 10% off your first purchase. You can find the link to the starter pack and also to their all bundle in my description box below. Thank you so much, Ajuice, for sponsoring this video. And yeah, let's get back to Procreate, I guess. By the way, I've already talked about this film in a previous video that I made, how I took my family trauma and made it into a horror film. It's kind of like behind the scenes about me and my life. So if you want to check it out, there is going to be a link on here somewhere and also in the description box down below. I'm also planning to make a video about how can you take your personal story and create a short animated film, specifically a horror film, because that's my niche. So if you are interested in this kind of video, please let me know in the comments below. I have the actual film uploaded here on my channel as well, so if you want to check it out, I will put it in the description down below or here on the screen so you can go and see it after or before this video and have a little, I would say, understanding of how this film turned to be. And the fact that I made it with Procreate is pretty insane. So yeah, please go check it out. Let's get right into the video. I'm gonna talk about the 3 stages of production in the animation world. Basically, it's like an industry standard. You have 3 stages for animation that you go through as you work on a film. Usually, you know, if you work in a big group, everyone has their own small little job, but because you are everything in your production and maybe you work alone or in a small group and you have little to no budget, you will have to do everything yourself. So let's talk about it a little bit before we get into each and every step. The first step is the pre-production step. This is where you are working on concept art, character design. If you have voiceover, you need to do the music, is pretty much going to be on the work in this stage as well. Animation tests, storyboard, animatic, the script, the entire idea of the project, okay? Before you actually start producing it, you have to have a good foundation of what the project is going to be about. The second stage is the production stage. This is where you will do rough animation, you will do, you know, keyframes, in between, secondary action, all that stuff. Then you'll do the clean animation, coloring, you will do background design. You know, if you have other stuff that has to do with the animation, you'll also like animate the background if you need to, stuff like that. This is in the production stage. And then in the post-production is where you take everything and kind of put it together. This is where you are composing the film. You use effects, color corrections, lighting, shadows, titles, posters for the film, basically all the little stuff that you need to add as final touches for the film to be complete. So these are the 3 stages of production. Usually when you start working on an animation project, the first thing you do and encourage to do is to explore and experiment as much as possible. This is like the best, in my opinion, stage of the animation production, because this is where you're kind of like finding your style. You get a lot of inspiration from artists that you love. You can do like I did. I had a mirror and I did this kind of collage of all the stuff I found that were an inspiration for my film. For this film specifically, I just watched Neon Genesis Evangelion, and that was one of my biggest inspirations for the film, art-wise or maybe like feel-wise. A little depressing for sure. For this stage specifically, Procreate is the most suited. You sketch a lot, you draw a lot, so it's really, I would say, intuitive working with Procreate in this specific stage. So let's just say that if we're talking about the pros, you have the money category. Procreate costs maybe I think $10 on the App Store, and it's a one payment for life. So it's very affordable. I gave it like a 9 out of 10. Comfortability wise, your iPad is mobile. You can take it anywhere. You can work from everywhere. I had like a part-time job back then, and I was working during my job hours. My manager allowed it and even encouraged it. So I had 8 to 12 hours a week of extra time to work on the film, which definitely helped this project get to where it was. My timeline wasn't as tight and impossible as maybe other projects, so that was a big plus for me. 9 out of 10. If we talk about the cons here, you have the comfortability. I would say the downside of using an iPad is that the screen can be smaller. Like for some people, you can't really adjust it to your hand. Sometimes it gave me a lot of hand cramps, so it's not the best. 7 out of 10. Efficiency wise, I would say it gets 3 out of 10 for me, and I'll explain why. If you have ever worked with any animation software before, you will know that there is raster animation and vector animation. The difference is on one leg is where you can take the drawing that you do and scale it up or down or rotate, whatever, and the definition would not change. It would stay the same. Unfortunately, Procreate, it's not such a software, it's actually raster. So every time you rotate your drawing, you scale it up, scale it down, it changes the definition. It basically becomes more blurry, which is annoying as hell. And that gets us to the final score of 6.8 out of 10. Not bad. Let's continue. Let's talk about the production, shall we? I will say this. Procreate is not made with animators and their needs in mind. And I don't know how it's possible, but the Procreate Dream app is even worse. Don't ask me why, how, what. Like, I don't know how to explain this. Is insane. I would kind of want to explain a little bit why I chose to use Procreate for this, like the production stage. There were 2 reasons. One is because my then boyfriend, now fiance, lived in another city, and I took trains or like buses to meet him every weekend. I was like doing weekends at his house, so that was really important for me to have the mobility. Also, and that's like a really stupid reason, there is like this pencil brush in Procreate that I really liked the look of, the effect it gives, and I really wanted my entire film to look like that, and I could not recreate this brush on the other software. The look actually came to be very pretty and exactly what I wanted, just the way to get there. Just want to preface, like before I'm getting with all the bad stuff, that there is a way to work around all the limitations of Procreate, but I just want you to take into account the time it consumes. Most simple thing can take twice the time or even triple the time, because Procreate is so not intuitive. Sometimes fixing stuff can be impossible, so take that into consideration. If you've ever, again, made any animation project, you have any animation knowledge, you would know keyframes. So keyframes are essentially the keyframes you need to have in an animation sequence in order for the movement to look good. It's also really, really crucial to have your keyframes in place and to know exactly how many frames you will need to have in order to time your movement perfectly. And that's super important in an animation production, because if you don't have it timed perfectly, you are going to have so many revisions later. I don't even want to get into it. While working on the Procreate app, you can definitely go into your animation assist tool and then you can draw the keyframes. Now, there's usually not a lot of keyframes in every movement. Let's just say it's 3, 5, it's not that bad. But then you'll need to get into the timing. So that means you need to do a lot of in-betweens and to get the movement right. Now, this is where it becomes annoying, because the frames per second option in Procreate is garbage. Okay, it's horrible. And the reason why is when you animate, usually you have different timing for different frames. Let's just say you take a second of animation and you have, in a second, you have 24 frames. Let's say you animate on 2. So you will have to draw 12 drawings in order for this sequence to move on 2s. Most of the time, you even do 3s. So that means you draw, instead of 12 drawings, you have 8 drawings per second. It's not always all 2s or all 3s or all 4s or whatever. It's sometimes mostly 3s, and then you have some 2s, and sometimes you even have on 1s. You have a really quick frame for a quick movement, stuff like that. And when you have a professional software, it's easy to pick which frames is on 3s or on 2s or whatever. But because the Procreate allows you to change the frames per second for the entire sequence, you can't nitpick what you want, it becomes a nightmare to animate. And the only way of kind of go around it is if you use the whole duration on the actual frame you want to change the duration of. But even then, it's super chunky. It's like you don't understand what's going on in your sequence. It's confusing. It's not intuitive. It's so annoying. You can definitely, as I said, work around it, but yeah, it's not the best way. Okay, let's just say that. Now, let's just say you animated your sequence and it looks good and everything's great. Now you need to do what we call an animation cleaning, which means you take your rough animation when you drew, everything is rough and you have a lot of lines and everything looks not good, and you need to make it ready for coloring. This is where we get into the really annoying part. Now, how do you clean animation in Procreate? Let me explain, okay? So you need to go to each frame, make a group with a different layer, like you do a new layer, fresh layer with nothing. You group it with the frame, the layer you want to clean, and then you take the opacity down, and then you draw on top of it. Now, what's the problem? You probably ask yourself, okay, it's not that bad. What's the problem? The problem, there's a couple of problems. Because you have so many layers, the project on Procreate becomes so heavy, the app stops moving. Sometimes it crashes down, which is annoying as fuck. But then you also want to see, sometimes you want to see how you cleaned the previous frame or maybe the next frame. And so you put the onion skin and everything is just all together. You don't even understand what you are drawing. It's confusing. It's all over the place. Let's say you did that and you finished the cleaning. Now you need to color everything. So take the process that you did in the cleaning and just multiply it by 10. Multiple by 10. Now you have to have maybe 6 to 7 layers for each frame, because you need to color it, and you color the skin separately, the hair separately, the clothes separately. I have PTSD even thinking about it. I would never go through this again. If there is one thing I can tell you that I will not do again, is this. And I did it again after that, and I regret every second. Okay, maybe not every second, but it's a nightmare, really. Nightmare. The only okay thing in the production stage that was okay to do in Procreate was the backgrounds, but even then that was annoying, because one, the raster stuff, so every time you want to scale up or down, you need to redraw everything again. And then I was exporting the background in layers because I had layered backgrounds for the effects, and that was also so annoying to deal with. So let's talk points, okay, numbers, shall we? For comfortability, it's still okay, so I gave it a 6 out of 10. Money, it's still 9 out of 10, efficient as fuck. And efficiency, 2 out of 10, and the only reason it gets 2 and not 0 is because of the background. So yeah, final score, 5.7 out of 10. Let's talk about the post-production, shall we? We got to this point. We animated everything, we did the backgrounds, we have all the stuff ready. Now we just need to compose everything. Now this is where I kind of lied to you guys. I actually used 2 more softwares for this film. One of them is Adobe After Effects and the other is Adobe Premiere Pro. One for compositing the scenes and then one for editing. I don't think it's like actually a lie, because in every animation film or project that you do, you will need to have at least one software for editing and then one for composing and effects. There are a lot of different options. You can choose what works best for you. This is what I had when I was a student. I also had a free license for Adobe from school, so that was nice. I definitely recommend them. I really like Adobe After Effects, especially. Like, maybe I'm just used to it. So we're finally here. After everything we went through, we can ask the $1 million question, guys. Was it worth it? And I want to say, given my specific limitations and my specific preferences that I had back then when I was making this film, the answer is yes. I think it was definitely worth it. For like my situation back then, it made the most sense. I would say overall that it's possible to make a film in Procreate, a good one even. Will I do it again? Definitely not. I don't like the software. I mean, I am because I'm an animator, but there is so much I can take, okay? But I had a fun time doing it back then, and I think the Procreate does give you a lot of options that maybe other software or apps would not give you. That can be a huge, huge help for beginners or people who are, again, working alone, doesn't have a budget, stuff like that. I would say that I definitely took a lot from this film and I learned a lot on what works better and what not. For example, in my second film that I did, my graduation film, I did opt for a better animation software. So I used the 2D professional animation software that we got from our school. That was a huge improvement for me. It's a super expensive software, so I can definitely understand not buying it as a freelancer or someone who is, just doing it for fun. I would say overall, I enjoyed making this film. I really like this film. I like how it turned out. It has, this special place in my heart. And because I made it on my personal story, I think for me at least, it's still one of my favorite things, because at the end, I had a film that I was so proud to show to the world. And I think if you have this burning passion inside of you and you want to create something that you love and you have this idea, take it out of you, give it life and enjoy the process. I enjoyed the process, just in hindsight, I see all the problems. I encourage you guys to try and see if it works for you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I had a lot of fun making it. If you want to see more videos on that subject or other subject that has to do with animation or horror animation, as I said, I have other videos planned as well of how to take your personal story and make a horror film out of it. Yeah, so again, thank you so much for being here. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!